Is still connecting to audio. There she is. Hi,
Hi,
Leticia.
Leticia.
You can see me.
So far it's just you. I invite you to come on video if you want, and we can be a small and mighty group, or
Thanks for that. I'm gonna be chewing though. I have to have lunch.
oh, I see. Okay, well, there's a couple more coming in. That's fine. Welcome, Jimmy. I invite you. This is going to be a networking opportunity where we're just kind of chatting about some topics. So I invite you to come on video if you don't mind. I know some of you are trying to catch lunch at the same time, so I understand if you want to leave your video off as well. Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Thank you. It's a real person. Well, I'll just go ahead and get started, and then hopefully a few more people will join us as we're moving along. My name is Renee Collins, and I'm the Director of Adult Education at Sacramento County Office of Education. And I am currently the Director of OTAN and CAPE TAP. I have been a program administrator at a couple different locations for adult education, so I am fairly well versed in program development, but I'm really excited to talk about some of the program development that's going on in your agencies. So I put together a document that I'm hoping that we can use to kind of guide our discussion. If any of you were part of our peer learning circles last spring or last year for the technical assistance project, you might be familiar with it. I'll have Marjorie, our Cape Force Summit, if she can like pop it in the chat for us, that would be great. And I'm going to go ahead and share the document online so that we can see it together. But all right. Okay. So you can open up the document yourself. It is in the chat. This is just a Google document that I thought we could use to focus our conversation. And we could start perhaps with a round of welcome and introductions. So I will model, I guess, what I'm hoping you'll do. So just please share your name, where you work. I'm just going to abbreviate SCOE, Sacramento County Office of Education, and my role is Director of Adult Ed. If you could, just in that box somewhere as well, go ahead and introduce yourself with your name, where you work, and your role. And then perhaps you have one question that you hope to explore today around program development, or perhaps you want to share what brought you here today to this jam session. Looks like we've got the group of administrators in the room today. That sounds good. Okay. And Leticia, am I correct that are you a newer administrator to Oxnard, or I want to say that I heard they were getting a new.
I almost 20 years, but I am newer to adult school.
Newer to adult school. Okay, well, welcome. Adult schools just kind of tend to grab onto you and never let you go because they're so wonderful, you don't want to leave. Okay. And Michelle, I see you're with Antelope Valley and you're a vice principal for them. Great. Any questions or thoughts that you had coming into today? What programs are we doing with IET? Okay. That's a great question. Michelle, how long have you been with adult ed?
4 years.
Okay. Okay. And were you anywhere else prior to that? Or this is
I was on a comprehensive site for 20 years.
okay. And did you have experience with career and technical education, either one of you at your comprehensive site?
No, well, I mean, supervision, knew about the programs and knew what we had, but not development or anything like that. Or dual enrollment, all that stuff I found out when I came into adult ed, which is great. And so right now we're kind of looking into expanding our programs with huge expansion ideas, but we also want to look into the IET and IELCE. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what is the difference between those two terms. Like,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
what is
Well,
the difference?
Yeah, well, I think of IET, Integrated Education and Training, as kind of being the umbrella term, maybe, of, or the umbrella, yeah, the umbrella term for that academic and CTE integration and workforce prep integration. I think of IELCE as being IET for RELL, right?
Okay, good. That's kind of what I thought. So I kind of thought IET was any of our students that are enrolled in both one of our academic programs and a CTE program. That was in my head.
Mhm.
And then the IELCE was how we support the ESL students in terms of, vocabulary acquisition, the additional course, and the civics component with a co-op. Is that correct?
Yeah, and there are additional kind of new, like requirements, I guess, for how to set up an IET program, especially if you are a WIOA Title II funded agency.
We are.
And so there are some real specifications for how you have to develop that program, but
And that's what I was trying to see and look into. And
yeah, perfect. Thank you. And I see that Kathleen has joined us. Kathleen, if you can, hopefully in your chat, you see the document, the Google document, and it's also the one that I'm sharing on the screen. I'm going to paste it in there again just one more time. And you can open it and just add your information under the notes with name, where you work, and your role. Anyhow, okay, so we have these two questions. What programs are we doing with IET? And so I'm going to just copy that and move it down here to this box. And I also see another question, guidelines for establishing successful CTE IET pathways. And I'm happy to start with these two questions, but maybe I could invite you to, here are the directions right here. Before we begin, like really getting into the meat of the discussion, maybe you could look through those questions in that section below and take a few minutes to just start typing some responses about what you know or what you think or what you want to know regarding those different questions. And then maybe the ones that kind of seem most interesting to you will really hone in on in the next half hour, 40 minutes. Does that sound okay? And let's make sure that we address the two additional questions, number 7 and 8 as well. Maybe about another 3 minutes. We'll just kind of just try and jot some quick stuff down. If you don't get to everything, that's okay. Okay, maybe wrap up with what you're typing and we'll just maybe start having a discussion and use some of what you've written as a guide to our discussion. And maybe you guys can direct the conversation. Where would you like to start based on some of the questions that you've seen? Let's maybe just start by talking about maybe what programs we're doing and maybe how we determine that they're a necessary or needed program for your school or your region. I don't know if you know, but there is in education code, it does require that if we are going to open up a new career and technical education program, that we need to do a job study to determine that there is a that there are actually jobs available to individuals in that field if they were to go through a training program for that. And yeah, and that's a requirement to do within your consortium prior to moving forward with opening a new program. But I know in my experience, I've been part of paraprofessional programs, I've been part of custodial training programs and food and hospitality programs. And the reason that we went in that direction was because the district that I was working for had a need for custodians. And so we started a custodial program that they could hire directly out of. And they had a need for part-time and full-time food and hospitality, cafeteria workers, right, for the schools. And so we started a training program that allowed them to be trained in the way, and we worked directly with the director of food service for the district. So she could say exactly what she needed our students to learn and what certifications they needed to have in order to be able to work in her kitchen successfully. So those are some of the programs that we have opened as IET programs. How about you? We'll start maybe with Michelle and Leticia. Thank you, the rest of you, for joining us. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see a few more people. You can see on the screen that we're using this document to kind of narrow our discussion today, since we only have an hour. And I'm just popping in the chat again the link to be able to open that document so that you can type it in yourself or have these notes as a reference for you once we leave.
So in Antelope Valley, we do research in a number of ways. We're part of our Economic Alliance group, who does extensive research on the needs of our community for jobs, upcoming jobs and needs. We have a huge medical industry out here. A new business that's coming in is the inland port, which is going to be huge and bring in a ton of jobs. So based on that, we're bringing in OSHA training, forklifting, management that goes along with somebody who wanted to be a manager in that field for what is it? Lost the word.
The manufacturing field, or the
Yes, the manufacturing. Oh yeah, we have a composite manufacturing field coming in. We've got, building and trade. So we've got, we're starting a business program as well, because we have a lot of people out here who like to do their own business and entrepreneurial. So we surveyed our students. And so a lot of times it's little things to bring them income, is like dog walking or, making their own things that they want to sell. So we're going to be starting an entrepreneurial program where by the time they're done, all the paperwork is filled, they're able to have their business up and running by the time they're out and have all the legal paperwork done and all of that. So we research in a number of ways to figure out what our students need, our community needs.
That's the entrepreneurial route is very popular, especially I think in our smaller towns, more rural. It's, they have some additional flexibility maybe to kind of do what makes sense for their community. That's a good one. Yeah.
There's a question. We do survey as we do enrollment. We use a Google enrollment form, and part of that is we list our current options for jobs and ones that we are thinking about opening to see what their interests are. So a lot of times we get people who are enrolling or wanting to enroll, and so we have a survey on our website that as they go to enroll, they give us that information.
And so when you're talking about all of these programs, are they right now specifically for your career and technical education students who come in for short-term certification and career training, or are these programs that are also open to your English learners or other students?
They're open to everyone. What we do is once our students enroll in our academic courses, right after enrollment, right after they do the CASAS testing, they meet with our counselors and they do a planning, pathway planning. What is it that you're interested in? This is what we have to offer. When you get to a certain point, let us enroll you in that, because we find that helps them stay motivated. A lot of time, we know an adult, there's a lot of stopping out. But if they're dual enrolled and they see an end in sight, like, okay, once I get my diploma, that's not the end. I know where I'm going next, and this is the program I'm in. And in order to get my certification in this program, I need a diploma. So we do a lot of that counseling to get them enrolled at the same time. We want to improve that with the IELCE and you know, so that our intermediate and advanced ESL students can have that, you know, academic training and that team teaching, so that they can be successful in those programs as well. So that's the one we haven't started yet, but we are looking into starting that. So we're surveying those students as well to see what program they will be interested in doing, like a cohort, so we can open a specific class for that.
Great, thank you. How about Alejandra or Gail? Welcome. Any thoughts around, like, what programs are you offering at your sites currently that are CTE or maybe IET or IELCE?
Renee, did you want to go next? Oxnard Adult School. I think you called my name.
Yes, please.
So I wanted to share,
Thank
yes,
you.
that's okay. I wanted to share that we, our focus currently, I come in from the high schools. When I arrived, health and medical programs had already existed, so I can't tell you what it was that was decided upon to create these programs. However, I do know we all have knowledge that we have sector priorities, healthcare being one. One of the things that I was very excited to hear you say that you have created a custodial program, because I am in the works of doing that. I've identified the need with our superintendent. I'm going to need your guidance as I work through this. I didn't go to my consortium, because this is fairly new, for a study. However, I looked up EDD data for the occupation profile. In addition to meeting, I met with the director of MOT. I've also talked to our other partner schools. Here in Oxnard, we have Ocean View and Real School District, and they were super excited when they heard that I was putting this together, because I do know, and we know, a shortages in custodians. But in addition to that, we were able to look at different profiles of different adult agencies, and they have a pathway. The second one is maintenance after custodial, and then they have one for supervision. So we look at the data, and of course we take in information from our local employers to decide, and that's how we are deciding to put this new pathway together. So that's my bit on what we're doing. So I'll be, hopefully you can share your email. I'll be connecting with you.
Yes, I'd be happy to. I've written detailed course outlines. I could probably be a good resource. I might have to do a little digging because it's been a couple of years, but I can definitely share those resources with you.
Yeah, so in the medical, we have CNA, MA, and we have Pharm Tech, very successful program we have. It's almost 100% passage rate. And we're working on a certificate for pharmacy tech. Right now, there's a national certification for that. Those are our biggest program. And of course, we're growing in the digital literacy area. We're working on a local project with our county and a consortium to create a novice digital upskilling course. And that's due to a funding that just came up from the state of California. And so that's really exciting, because we offer business technology 1 and 2, and we have found that people need something below that, the basic skills. And so we're going to start creating. We have actually created the curriculum now, and we're putting together the class. It's coming up soon with a pilot, and then in the spring we have that class going.
So I don't know if you were able to, or if you've seen any of the model programs that have been highlighted this week, but yesterday before the plenary, Whittier shared what they were doing to build their ESL population up in their CTE programs. And they have started bringing digital literacy and basically some of their CTE courses to their ESL classrooms. So maybe out of a 3-hour class, 2 hours will be the ESL focused, and 1 hour may be focused on the CTE training. In their case, I think it was maybe they were starting with some type of Google Google training, and they've had a lot of success with being able to bring the CTE teachers and bring the CTE course directly into the ESL, to the ESL students, so that the students become familiar with the teacher, and they, you know, maybe it doesn't sound so scary, the whole idea of career training. And so I would encourage you to look at, you know, to look at that and see what they're doing.
I will, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share?
I'm Alejandra Mesco. I work with West Hills College, Coalinga.
Okay.
And then here we do offer CT programs. We have also like a Farm of the Future. It's called like a area within our college that hosts like those career technical education, like HVAC, welding, truck driving, and ag programs. And then for like our adult ed, we offer ESL and the high school equivalency, which that's something that we're trying to expand on, like offering more non-credit courses, because there's like, you know, there's a need, and then a lot of students have asked like at least for like computer basic skills class or citizenship and things like that. But we do have several CT pathways.
And Alejandra, are the students in the are your EL students in your non-credit programs able to enroll in CTE classes, or do they need to kind of meet a minimum competency before they're able to enroll?
Yeah, they have to meet a minimum because all the classes in CT are in English, so that's something that like right now we have a big group that completed their high school equivalency, but that one, since they can do it in English or Spanish, the majority did it in Spanish, and now they're enrolled in the ESL course sequence. So our
Good. And is your site doing any integrated education?
because a lot of them are interested.
They're interested. Good. Okay. So you might be here to learn how to do that too.
Yeah, and my position here is like a pathway navigator. It's a brand new position, but I'm like an advisor for them. So my goal is to keep them around, because sometimes that's like hard, especially in our area, or working with adults that have jobs and like, you know, other things going on in their lives. But yeah, so it's working. Like the group, they created like really good cohesive relationships, because even like they all graduated and they're all like, oh, are you signing up for ESL, whatever, so they're moving on as a group. So that makes me happy, because they tend to stick around more when they see familiar, you know, like faces.
Absolutely. I think in every survey we've ever done about how did you hear about adult ed, or how did you, you know, it was always because of somebody that they knew, somebody that they talked to, a family member. So I think that word of mouth is, you know, you just can't beat it. You can put so many things into place, but word of mouth is the best. But I also wanted to mention to Alejandra, I don't know if you saw the model programs yesterday, but Marina Washburn from Allen Hancock Community College was talking about how they've stayed connected or rebuilt connections with students through texting.
Oh, yes, I that was so interesting to me, because right now that's like something that I have struggled with, because I'm the one that creates like those contacts. Sometimes like I call them and they don't answer, but it's because either they're working or things like that. So I did take note of that, like using other ways of getting, you know, a hold of them. So through text or things like that, I think it'll be crucial.
Right. She had amazing data to show, and she even shared with us that the entire college is adopting what they've done for their non-credit program because of the successful outcome.
Yes, I took several notes on that, and, you know, to bring it up, because sometimes we don't implement it because we are, you know, we don't know about the possibilities and the outcomes, which is the most important thing. But yeah, that's something that I think we should consider at our college.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
If you scroll, if you're welcome. Anybody else want to share? I'm just scrolling down here a little bit. I put a link for the CAP IET research brief. If you have not seen this or had access to it, it's on our CAPE website, caladulted.org, under the Advancing California Adult Education under research, but I've linked it directly here. And it talks all about what's required to put an IET program together or an IELC program. It tells you maybe what the hottest occupations are that are being trained on right now, and the industry sectors, and these have been mentioned by you guys, all of you, several times. Healthcare is number 1, business number 2, manufacturing and skilled trades, service, education, and agriculture. Those are the top sectors. But they also did some research. So we had High Road Alliance, Jenny Mullica and Peter Simon did some research. They went around and they interviewed basically administrators and teachers and transition specialists, just like yourselves, around the state last year to find out what people were doing around IET. What were the successes? What were the challenges? And so this brief is the result of all of that work. That and working with an advisory like CASAS and CalPro, you know, to make sure that what we were putting into the brief was actually, you know, accurate and usable. But some of the keys that they said, keys to implementing IET, they put it into 7 categories. So I thought maybe we could talk about them. One of them was teacher recruitment and training. And I know right now, it's sometimes hard to find teachers and recruit teachers, especially our CTE teachers, who in some cases can make more money working in the field, you know, working in their industry than they can coming into, you know, into the school sites and being teachers of their industry. So what have you, I guess I'm going to throw out the question, what have you done to recruit teachers for programs, or how do you think you might go about recruiting teachers for some of the programs that you're either thinking of starting or have recently started?
I share, because we belong to a large school district under Oxnard Union High School District, I often fly positions within the schools. And that's the best way that I have found. I love to hear other ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michelle has her hand up.
We struggled finding people, because once you get them in and they're willing to work for less than what they would normally make, then we have to turn around and say, but you got to go back to school and get a CTE credential. So we have partnered with different companies instead. So like AUMT, Cal Regional, LA Skills Academy, and it has been a godsend. We were able to get a lot of programs back that we were able to have before, because they don't have the restrictions that we do with the with the credentialing. So they can come in, they recruit their own teachers. Sometimes they even take their own pay. Sometimes we take the funding and then pay them, but it really has helped, because we don't, you know, you have one CT coordinator is supposed to be an expert in all of these industry fields. And it's really difficult at, you know, at an adult ed to do that when you're trying to run all programs, other programs as well, ESL, diploma, HSE, and you have to know all those programs and then have to be an industry person and try to run advisory boards. But with these companies, they're the industry professionals, and it really is helpful. So we've been working on some MOUs with them and partnering with those people to help support our programs.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how do I do it?
Others, I see Gail is typing some stuff in the chat. What type of survey did you use? Is it available somewhere? We have not started anything. We've just begun thinking about adult ed in the past few months. Work as a consultant with the school district. Okay. The high school has a couple of CTE programs. How will the CTE for adult ed be different? Good. So I can maybe address that the last question, but I see Michelle, your hand is up again. If you want to, did you want to answer one of those? Michelle, is your hand up? No. Okay. So I was a CTE director in a small district in the Sacramento area, And so I did both high school and adult education. And generally speaking, the difference is that in a high school, you're looking for at least a 2-year pathway, if not maybe a 3-year pathway or a 4-year pathway. That would, students could start in 9th or 10th grade, and then they could finish as seniors, and they might finish with a course that had some type of certification attached and have a transition plan to maybe the local community college or further training at a 4-year university. With CTE and adult ed, we're typically looking at no longer than 1-year programs, that they have a certification attached to them that is going to help them get a foot in the door at in a career. And that's the biggest difference. So maybe instead of that 2, 3, 4-year pathway, they're going to have an accelerated path to employment, or they're going to have some type of, they'll have, some type of initial training and then be able to transition into post-secondary training, potentially at the community college, and have that warm handoff between the two systems. Anybody else have anything to add to that about how that happens? I do want to add actually that I've been successful with recruiting CTE teachers who are working during the day in the field and may want to come and work in the evening. So some of our CTE programs run in the evening. That's how I was able to get my culinary instructor. He was a food service director in a different district, and then he came over to me and was willing to teach 6 hours a week, 2 evenings a week, and that's how I got my CTE teacher, and I was able to help him get his CTE credential. Now I'll be quiet. Others? Well, let's talk. So teacher recruitment and training was one of those elements that you needed for an IET program. Another one is student recruitment and enrollment. How do you try and recruit for or get students enrolled in your programs? Sometimes they just say, I just want to learn English. I don't want to be a custodian. I just want to learn English. Or I don't want to be in food service. I just want to learn English. That's my goal. What do you do when you come across students like that?
I can start. We use various methods. One of them is going into the classroom. Our counselors go in and provide information on types of programs that we offer, including our ASC and our CT programs to our ESL students. That is something that's discussed when they initially enroll and we find out about our programs. We also work with partner schools where I provide ESL classes out in the community. So therefore, we also advertise with our high schools or our elementary schools. We use the usual newspaper. We have a bilingual paper here in our area. And we have an insert with our catalog. They open it up and it falls out. And we use radio, also advertisement, and we have our bureau, our business bureau, our city. They have a different name, but we're members, so we advertise. And it's funny because a lot of this is word of mouth as well. So that's how we get along.
Yeah.
Increase our enrollment.
So do you do any type of survey, Leticia? And as far as like, how did you hear about our program? Do you ask your students that as they're coming in?
Yes, it's part of our enrollment form. In addition, there is a survey that's put out by the consortium. And we get data on how they find out about us.
And so what's the most popular?
And we also have a website, a new platform and social media, Facebook. Our Latino population, which is 93%, love Facebook. So it's a lot of word of mouth. They go on Facebook and they tell their friends that we're here.
Yeah, that seems pretty consistent wherever you're at, is word of mouth. but I do know a lot of us are relying on social media as well to kind of help with that effort. Good. Anybody else want to speak to student recruitment? Maybe Alejandro, that might be part of your job too. But Michelle, I see you came off of mute.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
So go
Either
ahead.
way.
Part of what we do is we go out to around our service area to the adult schools. We're really implementing that this semester. But the other day we even had like a tour. Avena Adult School came by and then we gave them a tour of campus. And we did something that really helped with enrollment in the ESL class. We did a mailer, so we contacted our city and kind of like just a news little thing on the water and utility bill. And it was like a QR code to enter inquiries. It's just kind of like put in your name and all this if you're interested in any of our adult ed programs. And then I was the one contacting them. So that helped because it creates like a one-on-one. I would contact them and then now they were speaking to a real person, you know, because sometimes that's what keeps them coming like they want. And then I was scheduling appointments to help them come and enroll and add the class to schedule and all that. So that was something that really helped us this past semester, because previously, like in just example ESL, the classes were like would range from like 8 to 10 students. This semester, I believe we have like 23, so I doubled our.
Oh, good
amount.
job.
Yes, so I'm very happy about that. So that's what we're currently doing here at West Hills so far. And social media, I do a lot of social media postings, but at the same time, our population is not always on social media. So that's why we did the mailers, like something else that it's gonna be out there available for them. So.
So I was at a pro literacy conference a few weeks ago, and they mentioned WhatsApp. If you can figure out how to communicate via WhatsApp, so many of our immigrant population are on WhatsApp because that's how they communicate with their family back in their country, and it's a no-cost app. Have you guys heard that before?
Oh yes, I have, because I have family in Mexico, and yeah, they use that a lot. It's kind of like a messenger, but it's just texting.
Yeah, so I wonder how we could tap into WhatsApp, if there's a way to tap into WhatsApp to be able to communicate with our students if that's what they're already using.
Yes, because I don't know if that's the only thing I don't know, because I think it connects to your like number. So in order to open an account, you need a number. I don't know how we could do that as an institution, if it would accept like a office number, or you know, like to not be able to use our personal phone.
Right, you wouldn't want to use your personal. You'd have to
Yeah.
figure out a way around that one. But
Yes, but
it was just an I wonder.
yeah, but I haven't figured that out. I do know though that at least here in our high set classes, the high school equivalency, we have two instructors, the English instructor and the Spanish. The Spanish instructor does use that. So somebody told me recently, and I was like going to ask her that. I don't know if she is okay with using her phone, you know, like I don't know if she's using her personal phone or how she did it, but that's how she communicates to her class. So through WhatsApp. And yeah, you're right. A lot of Hispanic population, because it's more common, I guess, in other countries, but it is a free texting app, and you don't need to have like a contract. It's just like with internet, like Messenger. So
yeah, oh, maybe.
but yeah, thank you. I will look into that more.
Yeah. Michelle?
We found word of mouth also was the biggest. So we wanted to find ways to increase that word of mouth. So we kind of brainstormed with our staff in the beginning. So we have purchased reusable grocery bags, you know, that we can give out. So when they're shopping, they can see our big logo, and on it they have, you know, if some people are like worried to ask a question, we have the QR codes posted on them so someone can take a picture on their phone. We did big signage on our buildings with QR codes. So if somebody wants to just drive up and get that, it'll take them directly to our website. We just recently wrapped buses in our areas. So, and then inside the buses, they have those ads. We put those ads inside the buses. We've added billboards. We just kind of spent quite a bit on marketing to try to, get more people in, then you kind of have that vicious cycle of more people coming in. Now we have more teachers. Now can we get more pay points? So that whole, chronic funding issue, but we know that we have to get more people in and serve our community because we're serving a tiny fraction of who needs it based on our data in terms of even high school diplomas. So
those are a lot of great ideas. I know, I love that. I've done a van wrapping, van, but I mean, people see it and they're like, oh, they connect with it, right? They're like, I know that program.
Yeah, we can, with our van, we are actually buying, instead of a van, we're now getting, we have a school out here that is willing to refurbish a old bus. So a wheelchair bus, because we've partnered with our school district and it's called Campus to Community. And it's our higher functioning special needs students who are enrolled with us as called community ambassadors. So the schools in our area have taken specific locations and these students will go out with our flyers and talk to the people in the community, like health centers, all these businesses and say, hey, we just want to let you know what we have available and, whether to recruit advisory members or to let them know that we're here. If they say, hey, we're needing nurses, you got somebody we can hire, just spread the word to our local community. And it's good for them because they go out and learn the communication skills and coming back and, making data of the places that they went and who they spoke to. And so it's kind of fun. So we just started piloting that as well.
I love that. What do you call them? Community
ambassadors.
Community ambassadors. I love that.
We'll
will you add that to the list that you put there? That'll just prompt me to remember because I think this list is really rich, actually. I appreciate that, you guys have thrown so many ideas in here.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about the flags too? What does that mean?
Community ambassadors. So what we did is we have most of us at our schools have a ton of fencing, that are just across the whole thing. So we've lined our fences with banners. We also got those flags, those really tall, they're probably like 12 feet that high. So you can kind of see what our programs are, ESL, citizenship, and then as we develop even further our CTE, we'll put specific career type stuff out there. And we have it so they're mobile. So because we have 4 different locations, so we'll just place them in different places. We also bought banners to put on our high school football stadiums.
Oh, wow.
In baseball stadiums so that they're far back with a QR code as well, just to kind of, while people are in the stands can maybe zoom in and take a picture and get to our website. So we're trying lots of things. Oh, I'll put those banners on there too.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else want to speak to student recruitment and enrollment before we move to a different topic? So another one is, another thing that they said that you needed as a part of your IET program is collaborative partnerships. And we've kind of alluded to that with some of your answers that you've put into some of the questions about working with your AJCCs, your America's Job Centers of California. We didn't have workforce development boards, maybe employers. How are you making those connections? Because boy, that's not easy sometimes. And some of our programs require that you have externships and that type of thing. What are you doing to kind of build up those and maintain those collaborative relationships with folks?
I can start. I can say that we connect. Paying attention to those emails for that require attendance at meetings. That was one of the discussions we recently had with our workforce because that's one of the things we're trying to strengthen. Coming out of pandemic, virtual meetings, but then keep people and connect, and that's the way the real referrals begin. And our board, we have already included a new program. It's called Unite Us. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I haven't. Unite us?
Yeah, so that they contracted with a company that you will, let's say you're looking for a job, you include the person's name in this, of course, with their permission, then all the partners will see this, and then they will inform us of what has been done if this student has been seen. So we're trying this. This is super brand new, and counselors will have it, and your college and career job developer individuals, so that you can refer to the other agencies. So that's one way we're trying to promote our partnership. I'd like to hear other ways.
What makes them eligible to be on that list, Leticia?
Anybody that has a need, it could be a social emotional need, medical, academic need. For example, we have an agency here, Career Education Training, has been Oxnard for many years. There's a lot of courses that we don't offer. Like if we find someone that wants to become an electrician, we'll refer them to those partners because they're also partners with us. So that's basically how we intend, we can, and we have for our business partners, we have our advisory board meetings, so we connect. They look at our schedule and approve, give us recommendations, just reaching out. And you know, for this thing that I tell you we're putting together for the custodial pathway, MOT pathway, I'm just reaching out, making cold calls. And now that we're a little bit feel more comfortable going out meeting people, just make an appointment and meet them in person. That makes a big difference.
Yes, it does. I think that one-on-one, face-to-face. I was, again, at that pro literacy conference, they had a speaker during lunch, and they said that the best way to get a guaranteed donation is to speak one-on-one in person with somebody. They will rarely say no. Like, I guess 80 or 90% of the time they will say yes. It can't be one on a small group. It needs to be one-on-one. But I would imagine the same thing would hold true for, you know, I'm looking for a partner for my educational program. And if you've got a good reason why, you know, you're putting this program together, I think it would be hard for a business to probably say no. So that's a really key idea. Other thoughts about that? Collaborative relationships or partnerships? Well, we're kind of at the, we've got just about 5 minutes left. I'm actually going to probably skip the reflection, which I really shouldn't do. Skip the reflection. You should never skip the reflection, but I am. I would just like you, instead of this interest in future peer learning circles, I'm going to put my email and name. And if you guys want to do the same thing, so you'll have access to this after we leave. So, you know, certainly I think we can be our own network group in a sense. You know, you can certainly, anybody's welcome to reach out to me at any time. And I think generally within adult ed, we're kind of like that, right? Let's help each other out, not reinvent the wheel necessarily. So, you know, to the degree that you want to share your email and name, you're welcome to do that. Definitely add some rows. Feel free to do that. I did want to point out for some of you that are starting programs, if you're not familiar with this 11 elements of a high quality CTE system, it's actually used in the kind of the 9-12 settings quite a bit, especially with Perkins funded programs, federally funded Perkins programs. But I have used it to build my CTE programs for adult ed as well. It's just really strong reminders of things that quality curriculum and instruction, partnerships is one of them. anyhow, there's 11, and you can just Google it and find it. There's many variations. I think there's even one that's 13 elements at this point, but but you'll see what it is. Okay, thank you, Gail, for. I'm going to drop your email into the document as well. Okay. Well, any last thoughts or kind of closing remarks before we come to a close? I appreciate everybody coming to the jam session. And yes, Marjorie's just put the evaluation for today in there. Please do make sure to fill that out and give us some feedback about whether or not you think this is like a useful hour to spend at the summit, you know, because it will really help us decide whether or not we're going to do something similar next year.
Hey Renee, oh, never mind. I was gonna ask if I could drop the link in the chat for Stephanie that joined and then left, but she left.
Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. All right, well, I hope everybody continues to have a great time at the summit. Thank you for engaging with me today. And hopefully I'll run into you again soon.
Thank you. Mhm.
All
Thanks,
right,
everyone.
thank you.
Looks like the next session starts at 2:30, so have a quick break.
All right,
Fill up your water.
bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.